Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it may be that you decide to go through this video. As you can see, if you can see through the glasses lens, my eyes are all popping out. I've been up since 1 a.m. and it's 6:54 a.m. So I've been out for hours putting together these resources, this learning package, in order for us to understand, or for the team to understand what solar energy is all about and why we should consider learning about it. And there are resources out there. There are educational programs. There are courses that we have to pay for. Some are in in the thousands, depending on how we excel in what we decide to endeavor. Liberia is a big country, and the need for energy is very vast. Also, there are neighboring countries also with high needs for solar energy or renewable energy. So, with all further ado, I just want to dive right into the training for today. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to be introducing you to the Solar Energy International program. It's like an online, like a school that provide both online learning or in-class learning when it comes to renewable energy. As high as you would like to excel in solar renewable energy. If you like to excel in the managerial area, in the commercial aspect, or in the technical areas, there are courses out there, and they have courses that we will be diving into. So let me first and foremost, today I have a course that I would like for us to actually dive into. This is going to be our first program, our first course, and this is called, first to say, welcome to Solar Energy International. The Solar Energy International SEI prides itself on delivering quality hands-on workshops, online courses, and in-person trainings. This introductory overview of renewable energy is intended to fuel your curiosity while allowing you to sample courses through SEI online campus. This course is also a great first step for a career-focused individual to understand the whole world of renewable energy possibilities. It's a free course that is just a taste of the in-depth. So this is just to give you a little bit of what it has to do with what solar energy entails. So there is a welcome video by the executive director, the course overview and the syllables, what you will be doing in this course, the pre-course quality, the quizzing, the new and informations. Um, so you just stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to present the course shortly.
This is Kathy Swartz, and I'm the Executive Director of SEI. On behalf of all the staff and instructors, I want to personally welcome you to our free Introduction to Renewable Energy online course. And I want to congratulate you for taking this step forward on your renewable energy journey. Best of luck to you. It's going to be a very fun ride. Before we begin, I just want to spend a few moments discussing who Solar Energy International is. So we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and our whole mission is to provide industry-leading technical training and expertise in renewable energy to empower people like you, communities, and businesses from around the world. And why are we doing what we're doing? Because we have this collective vision as an organization of a world powered by renewable energy, and you are part of this vision. So SEI, we were founded in 1990, training people about renewable energy. And since our founding in 1991, we have trained 35,000 people like you from all over the world. And if I could even begin to share with you the amazing things that our alumni have gone on to do, each one of those 35,000 people is having a direct impact on this planet, and it's pretty darn amazing. So SEI, what we do is we provide the training so that you can go out and properly and safely design, sell, install, and maintain renewable energy systems. We focus on everything from solar electric, otherwise known as PV, to solar heating, small wind, micro hydro. And we focus on a range of applications, everything from very small developing world applications to residential, to commercial, to utility scale systems. Now, I invite you, as you are taking this class, if you feel inspired, if you feel passionate about renewable energy, I invite you to give us a call. We have a fantastic student services team that talks to thousands of people each year. And their whole purpose is to help coach you, to help you find your path in this renewable energy industry. It's an amazing industry to work in. Not only are you doing good for this planet, but there are lots and lots of jobs out there. There's a lot that can be done regardless of your background. So good luck to you, and go out and do great things for the world. And know that we're here to support you on this journey. Thank you.
Objectives, course overview and syllabus. RE 100 objectives and expectations. Course objectives. After completing this course, you should be able to 1. Describe how renewable energy use affects climate change, identify different types of renewable energy systems and how they harvest energy, recognize the strength and drawback of renewable energy type in varieties of applications. Expectations. This introduction to renewable energy online course is intended to familiarize students with many types of renewable energies. It also demonstrates the SEI online campus. However, this course is just a sample of SEI paid online course, which go into each subject in much greater depth. You can expect to learn or review basic terms and concepts about renewable energy. To learn enough about renewable energy to help you decide which field you might want to pursue further. To become familiar with SEI Online Campus. You should not expect to gain hands-on training in any aspect of renewable energy. To cover every aspect of renewable energy or become an expert in renewable energy from this course on alone. To receive an academic credit or any type of certificate for this course. So in short, they're saying this is just a free introductory course that broaden the spectrums or tell you about what renewable energy is all about. The course overview and syllabus. Lessons, activities. This lesson consists of a presentation, a PDF file of the presentation with notes, and additional videos, link, readings, and resources. Each lesson also has a quiz, which is based on the presentations and the PDF files of the presentation, not the additional reading and courses. You can pause, stop, restart, and re-watch the video presentation using the on-screen control. The PDF link below the presentation accompanies the presentation. It includes the slide as well as notes that may offer additional information beyond what the instructor says, or may repeat something they said in a different way. Either way, the two sources complement each other. Quizzes. Quizzes are scored automatically once you submit the quiz. A result will be made available immediately. You can save your attempt in progress if needed and come back to it later. Each quiz is worth 100 points. You may refer back to exercises or any other reading materials required for this lesson. While talking, taking an quiz. In other words, all quizzes are open book. Blank submissions or assignments turned in that were not fully attempted will not be considered for credit. All quizzes must be fully completed to pass the course. Quizzes can only be taken once, but you can save your attempt in progress and return to any quiz. When you're working on a quiz and you want to save before you submit, or you are not ready to submit yet, use the next button at the bottom of the quiz page. You will discover that all your selected answers have been automatically saved. Of course, you can change them at any time before you submit by clicking on the question's number on a summary attempt or using the quizzes link in the course activities menu blocks on the course homepage. You can also return to the entire quiz by clicking the button Return to Attempt. At this point, you can navigate away from that quiz or even log out. The next time you want to work on the quiz, simply return to the quiz continues the last attempt. When you are ready to submit for a grade, use the Submit All and Finish button. Or if you want to start all over again before submitting, press Start a new preview. To keep an eye on your progress within the course, use the grades page, which is accessible by clicking the grades link in the administration menu block on the course homepage. In this course, we need to earn at least 770 points to pass. 770 points to pass. You can still pass the class after one or two low quiz days. So in short, it's saying this is not an academic class. It's not here about your geniuses or how academic you are. It's all about learning the concepts and understanding what renewable energy is all about. You see, one of the beautiful things about learning courses in America, the idea is to enable you understand what you are learning. That's why they create an opportunity that you can consistently go back and forth. When you are learning, you have the opportunity to go back and forth. You are not stagnant. You are not stuck to one area, or one subject, or one paragraph. You just have the opportunity to flip back and forth if there be the need. Course overview and syllabus. To pass this course, all quizzes must be fully completed. Blank submissions do not count. Each mandatory quiz is worth 100 points. Accumulate honor score 70% or better is required on the 11 quizzes. Once you have successfully completed the course, you will be able to print your record of completions (ROC). While we hear much more about comprehensions than grades, we do mandate the following passions requirement to help assure the quantity of our training and our alumni. The qualities of our training and our alumni. The course overview, instructorless course guidelines. This course introduction to renewable energy is different than most of Solar Energy International's online courses. It does not have any accredited instructor working daily to review exercises and quizzes, respond discussions, polls, and answers email. However, the course is designed to foster decision among students within the lesson discussion forum, and the course facilitator will periodically review and respond to decision posts, to discussions posts, and answers questions. If you experience a problem within the course, please contact Solar Energy International at SEIonline at solarenergy.org to bring the issue to our attention. As part of this free introductory course, there are a great many questions in the online forum regarding possible training paths and students asking, asking advance or what they have asked on what they should be taking after this course. With that in mind, you will receive a course email from the course facilitator from time to time promoting upon training opportunities here at Solar Energy International SEI. This instructor-less course is not entirely representative of other courses with instructors within Solar Energy International online campus. It is intended as an overview and does not deserve as deeply into each topic as other courses do. So please have in mind. Forum discussions. Talk about the forum discussions. How we're going to do. We're going to be discussing having forum with other um, participants, other students around the globe. Also taking advantage of the first free online courses with time. I'm going to pay for courses depending on the level of our team and those that are interested in fostering or learning more. What this is going to do is create an opportunity that we can go to seminars, you can travel to with physical training, classroom training, and that's the whole idea. Use the navigation breadcrumb at the top banner. Talk about the computer requirement, how much gig the computer should have, how fast the computer spec should be, that you'll be using the PC, the XP, Visa, the operating system that will require for your computer to be able to open those video files and PDF files. So it's very important that you have a very good computer. Saving your work. Logging all your calls, the calls content, questions, course overview, meet your classmates. So that's just the introduction on renewable energy. That's a course overview. So I just went through the course overview. That's just a course overview. Back to back to the lessons. Okay. So that's a course overview there. I did a course overview. Pre-course quiz test your knowledge for extra credit. Discussion forum. New and reviews and information. Student introductions. Open discussions. SEI training schedule for professional certificate programs. Um,
Free RE100 online course, An Introduction to Renewable Energy. On behalf of SEI, all of our staff and instructors, I'd like to welcome you to this course We appreciate you taking some of your time to launch into learning about renewable energy. Our RE100 class is going to cover different types of renewable energy technologies, answer some of the questions about economics. And in this first presentation, we're going to try and answer the question, why? Why are we interested in renewable energy? What benefits does it have? Why are you logging in and taking a look? And I think that we have some good answers to that, and I think that you'll really enjoy all the lessons in this course. My name is Brian Mahalik. I'm an instructor and curriculum developer for Solar Energy International. I'm also alum from 2002, so I've been in the industry for 14, almost 15 years now. Got my start at SEI taking classes, worked for 9 or 10 years as an installer, system designer, field service technician. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've been teaching and working with SEI on classes and curriculum, as well as being involved in all kinds of solar projects all over the country and all over the world. So I'm glad to be here with you today. And in this very first introduction presentation, we're gonna ask the question, why renewable energy, and try and figure out an answer to that before we move into talking more specifically about types of technologies and some of the other things that we cover. And I'm going to be honest, this class is an overview. We're trying to get you interested. We're hoping that some of you will become SEI students at some point in the future. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about our classes or our curriculum, or what kind of path you want to take to get involved in the industry, or if you have questions about a system you're building to put on your house. We're there to help you and help you get your start in the industry, get your start working with solar. There's so many opportunities out there. It's a really exciting time. So why renewable energy? And I'm going to say, first off, we're a little biased here at SEI. Our staff, our instructors, we've dedicated so much time and our careers because we envision a world powered by renewable energy. And our mission here at SEI really is to provide industry-leading technical training and expertise in renewable energy to empower people, communities, and businesses worldwide. And SEI works with so many people, and we truly are an international organization. We teach classes, work with groups and utilities and companies all over the world in all different facets of the industry. And we've been doing it for over 25 years now. So hopefully you'll enjoy what you hear here and try and become interested in checking out SEI and our offerings a little bit more. Okay, so before we say why, or answer the question why renewable energy, we're going to juxtapose that against fossil fuels. Fossil fuels. So what are fossil fuels? And I think we're all pretty familiar with things such as coal, oil, natural gas, right? Resources that are inside the earth that were created millions and millions of years ago, created from these are hydrocarbons that were created when plants and animals were buried under layers of sediments and soils and deposits, and pressure and heat and all these kind of things changed them into coal and oil, gas, stuff that has a tremendous amount of energy stored inside of it. It's really stored energy. It is, however, a finite supply. This stuff is in the planet. There's only so much of it out there, and we have to expend a lot of effort to get it out of the ground, whether we're pumping oil or mining coal or transporting natural gas in pipelines. Getting this fuel source to where we need to use it is a pretty elaborate, intense effort. And what we really do in the end with our fossil fuels is we burn them. In the end, that's really what we're doing when we use fossil fuels for energy. We burn them for heat. We burn them for electricity. Right. And so regardless of the type of fossil fuel electrical power plant we're talking about, or generating station, what's essentially happening is we're burning gas, we're burning coal, we're burning oil, we're creating heat, we're creating steam, we're spinning turbines, and turbines are making electricity. So in the end, we're really burning them for heat, and we can use that heat to make electricity. I think, as a lot of us are aware, this burning process releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide accumulates in the atmosphere and results in excess heat being trapped inside our atmosphere. So we've seen warming trends over time. We're familiar with the concept of climate change and the results of this tremendous use of fossil fuels that has occurred over the last century or so, and the impacts that that's having. And we're not going to get too far into the whole warming, climate change side of things here. But that is one of the big reasons that we're seeing a change to renewable energies, or more and more interest in renewable energy, because we realize that, hey, fossil fuel has issues in terms of what it puts off when we use it. It also has an issue in the sense that it's going to run out, and there's a cost associated with procuring it and using it. And we have the opportunity to make other choices, use essentially a different fuel. Maybe we can use a different fuel to do this. And what's that fuel going to be? Well, it's going to be things like the sun and wind and moving water and some of these renewable resources. So the idea here is renewable versus non-renewable. Coal, oil, gas, uranium that we use for our nuclear power. These are all going to run out. There's a certain amount of them. Right? And estimates may vary depending on how much there actually is and how long it's going to last. And, some of that is predictions, and it's based on what they think is in the ground and based on how fast we think we're going to use it over time. And those may change. And so the numbers may not be exact, but there's no denying that there's only a certain amount of this stuff. It's not renewable. It's a finite supply. And the graph on the slide here shows some estimates for some of these finite non-renewable sources in terms of how much of the resource is left. And you can see there's a lot of coal left, 170 years worth maybe, given our current consumptions and our estimates in terms of what resource remains. And that's a long time, but not really, right? I mean, 170 years, it's way more than anybody's lifetime for sure, but it's not that far down the road before we could run into that. And there's also, of course, obviously the associated cost with, well, if we get all that coal out and we use it all up over the next 170 years, what's happened to the planet as a result? The greenhouse gases that may have been emitted, warming that may have occurred. Do we actually want to use all of that? Do we want to use it all as fast as we can? Or maybe we want to extend the usable life by cutting back on the amount of consumption of these finite resources that we're using. So let's juxtapose that to our renewable or our infinite resources. And I get it, the sun's going to burn out eventually, but 170 years worth of coal versus maybe 5 billion years worth of the sun still working. It's pretty easy decision there to label one of these a renewable and essentially infinite resource, right? And these include things like wind, as we mentioned, sun, moving water. These are all energy sources, and using them doesn't decrease their supply. If we harness the wind that's blowing in a wind turbine, it doesn't mean it's not going to blow tomorrow because we used it up, right? If we have solar modules out that are mounted and are collecting sunlight and producing electricity, well, guess what? Sun rises again tomorrow. Maybe it's a little cloudier. Weather varies, of course, but we know that we're going to get some amount of that resource on a daily basis. So renewable versus non-renewable, and really trying to make the shift from one to the other, or reduce our use of one, the non-renewable, while increasing our reliance on renewable resources. We'll get more use out of what's in the ground. It'll be around longer for other uses besides maybe just burning it, right? I think we're aware that oil and gas have a lot of other uses besides just burning them and sending them up a smokestack to make heat and spin turbines and make electricity. Another great aspect of renewable energy is that it is inherently domestic. Wherever you are, if you are capturing the sunlight that's falling in that location, you're using domestic energy. Now, maybe your modules were made in another country, or your inverter or wind turbine was made somewhere else, but the resource, the fuel supply, is local. And you can again contrast that to our non-renewable fossil fuel sources. Of course, some countries are blessed to have great resources. Other ones, not so much. A lot of nations import the energy that they use, the fossil fuels that they use, whether it's coal or oil, and moving that around has a huge cost, a financial and environmental cost as well. It also means that, hey, if I'm importing all of the energy for all the electricity I use, maybe in a small island nation, well, I'm very dependent on this lifeline, essentially, of fuel for my energy source. And I think an independent side of renewable energy appeals to a lot of people, right? Being able to capture the fuel where you are, at your home, at your business, in a local area and utilize that renewable resource has a lot of appeal rather than, having a tanker going across the ocean and dropping off oil somewhere or moving coal around and trucking it all over the place. The other side here is, of course, that independence means that a potentially dwindling finite resource, we're not in as much competition for it. Hey, we don't need that as much anymore. Our fuel is local, right? And so this whole produced in country, it reduces our dependence on energy sources from abroad. It also means that we have to create infrastructure. We have jobs that go along with this domestic energy production. The money tends to stay more in your own economy rather than being sent abroad to purchase these energy sources that are then being shipped in. So renewable energy equals domestic energy. And I get it, and some non-renewables domestic too, right? There's plenty of coal mines in the United States, and a lot of that coal is used to make electricity, and that's a domestic supply as well. But it's another example of, hey, not only is there a benefit to renewable energy in terms of there not being the emissions associated with it, it is also another fuel source that really falls pretty much everywhere, right? And we can figure out exactly how much sunlight different areas of the world get. And of course, it varies from location to location, depending on weather and your latitude relative to the equator or the poles. And there's going to be differences, but in general, the sun shines pretty much on everybody every day, at least a little bit. So it's not only a domestic energy source, on some levels it's a democratic energy source as well. Everybody has the opportunity. Of course, you have to have the materials and the know-how to do it, but everybody has the ability to utilize this energy source because it falls on everyone. Another advantage to renewable energy is the idea of a centralized versus a distributed energy grid. Right. So when we talk about a distributed energy process, and I think we're all pretty familiar with this, even if we don't really always think about it that much. If you look around, what do you see in most places? You see power lines all over the place. Smaller ones running to homes and businesses, larger ones that are supplying power to those. And it all starts back at the power plant, which may be dozens or hundreds of miles away. It may be in another state. And so we have a really huge amount of infrastructure associated with this. First, we've got to get the fuel, right? We've got to mine it or drill it and transport it, get it to the power plant where it's used to make electricity. And then from there, it's sent out hundreds or even thousands of miles until it finally gets to the end user. So this is a massive amount of infrastructure that we're all dependent on. And it's really based on a centralized generating theory. Everything, or most everything, is coming from large power plants that is then sent out across the grid to everybody that's tied into it. That's expensive. The grid is in and of itself, the infrastructure is a lot of money. The maintenance, building it, is expensive. The beauty of a lot of renewable energy sources, and this isn't always the case, but the beauty of a lot of them is that we can have distributed production. So rather than centralized power plants and everything sent out from there, we can put the power generation pretty close to the point of use, right? And it can be very flexible in the size and the scale as well. So if you look at the picture down here in the bottom right corner of the slide, I think this is a great one. This was actually in Tucson, Arizona. And you see there's some houses there in the bottom right that have some modules, some PV modules on the roof, solar panels on the roof, making electricity that's being used in those houses. And if there's extra, then it does go out onto the utility grid. So these people are all still hooked to the grid, but by having some generation on their house, they're able to lessen the amount of electricity that needs to be transmitted on the grid to their point of use. They have some of that energy generation happening there. And so do their neighbors and other neighbors too. So we've spread out the generating capacity amongst the user base more. And so rather than relying on huge transmission lines to get everything in there, we have generating capacity where it's being used. And I think that this bottom right picture is actually a really good one because you also see that, in the backyard, there's actually a pretty darn big solar system there, right? There's a large ground-mounted solar system, and this is actually on a development where a lot of the homes have solar systems, and they have a large system as well, which offsets some of the energy used by streetlights and common buildings and other facilities in this development. So we have the distributed generation at the house, we have additional generation sort of for this neighborhood, and everybody's still hooked to the utility grid, but by having a lot of power generated here, we're lessening the amount that needs to be brought in. And really, this can have tremendous effects on the utility grid, lessening the need for upgrading parts of it, potentially depending on where new houses are being built and those kind of things. So centralized versus distributed is another really good argument as to why we should head towards renewable energy. Part of that is also just the speed, right? We can put up distributed energy resources such as solar systems on people's houses or ground-mounted systems so much more quickly than we could ever build anything like a coal-fired power plant or a large centralized natural gas electricity generating station. Those are huge, huge projects. And once they're done, they'll make a lot of electricity. But it takes a long time to get them online, to get them designed and financed and permitted and built and connected. That could take years. Over the course of that time, we could install a lot of solar close to where it's being used in a distributed architecture. So definitely another key benefit to renewable energy. Now, we've seen tremendous growth in solar, wind in the last handful of years, and part of that is because there has been a demand for it. People are interested in it. The public sees value in it. On some levels, there are things such as renewable portfolio standards where electric utilities are required by state law to generate a certain portion of the electricity they provide to the utility grid from renewable sources. And so that encourages the installation of these systems, and that's really driven by the public will. We've decided, hey, we value this, we want this, and a lot of that then results in things such as subsidies and tax credits. In the U.S., we have a significant federal tax credit for installing renewable energy systems. State and local governments may have additional credits as well. The utilities may provide incentives for installing systems. The electric utility, they may provide net metering where, hey, I've got a solar system on my house. If it's making more than I'm using, the excess goes back into the utility grid. They basically store it for me. It's not really storing it. We're sending it to them and it's going somewhere else. But later, when my system's not making as much as I need, I'll buy that electricity back from the utility in even one-to-one exchange. That's what we call net metering. Anything you send out to the grid and don't consume, you get the same value for that as you would pay when you're buying power from the electricity grid. So net metering, this two-way flow of electricity from our distributed generating sources to the grid and back, has really helped encourage the growth of renewables. Feed-in tariffs, where we pay a premium for electricity produced by renewables, it has been a popular program that some areas have implemented and has really helped grow renewable energy industries, as well as renewable energy credits, or RECs, RECs. And this is really where we kind of decouple the greenness, if you will, of electricity from the actual electricity itself, right? I can buy electricity from you and use it to do whatever I need, but if it's generated by a wind turbine, perhaps, maybe it has some extra value to it above and beyond the actual value of the electricity itself. There's a value placed on where it came from, how it was made. And this allows the trading, essentially, of renewable energy credits. And so I'm sure that some of you have seen this. You see a company that makes a particular product and they say, hey, we're all powered by wind power. Our business is 100% powered by wind power. A lot of times they're not buying a bunch of wind turbines and installing them behind their factory. What they're doing is they are buying renewable energy credits. So they purchase all their electricity, and then they also purchase renewable energy credits, which essentially go to the wind farm, right, or the solar farm. and allows them to say, yes, we are, because we're paying this extra money on top of the normal cost of the electricity, supporting the renewable energy side of things, that allows us to say in our marketing and to our customers, hey, we're using a renewable energy. So we'll talk a little more about some of these credits and subsidies and other financial mechanisms later in this course in the economics of renewable energy lesson. But I also don't want to give you the wrong impression, because we are at the point, we've been at that point in some places where the economics, they work. They work. If you live in a remote area, or if you live on an island that has really high electricity prices, solar has been, and for a while already, a better value proposition, and for a lot of reasons. And again, we'll talk about these more later in the economics of RE lesson. Okay, so maybe we answered the question. I hope we did. I think probably a lot of you are listening in, and you're like, well, I'm already there. I get it, right? But I do think that there's a lot of good reasons to think about renewable energy, whether you were convinced before you showed up or not. There's a lot of value to it, and there's a lot of opportunity as well. I took classes at SEI in 2002, became an installer, and it's just been amazing to watch the growth of the industry, from really kind of like a small mom and pop operation to really international big industry with manufacturing all over the world, and the growth of the industry is almost parabolic. And with that, what's really happened is that there's so much more opportunity for careers in the renewable energy industry. After I took classes, I knew I wanted to be an installer. I wanted to be out in the field, putting systems in, servicing systems, designing them. And I had a great time, and I learned a lot. But as the industry matures, and as there's more and more companies and sectors to be involved in, there's become so many more jobs out there. On the screen, you'll see from IREC, the Interstate Renewable Energy Council, their solar career map. And this is kind of I think a good way to sort of break down what's out there in terms of different job opportunities, different career tracks. And this particular table breaks them down into things such as manufacturing, all kinds of different products that we use. Solar modules, inverters, batteries, rack systems, so many different things for manufacturing, system design and engineering, project development, right? We're seeing so much growth in large scale solar and wind systems. These are big projects. They take a lot of people working on them, and a lot of people to get financing set up and to get projects designed and implemented and online and then maintain them. So there's lots of opportunities for project development. And of course, without the installers and the people putting these things in, none of it happens. So there's always going to be the need for installers and operators, and one of the things that's really beautiful about being an installer is those are great jobs because they aren't getting outsourced, right? You've got to be on the ground or on the roof where it's happening in order to install it. So those are excellent jobs, and there's lots of opportunities there. A lot of opportunities to either hit the ground running and get some on-the-job training, or hey, if you've worked in other construction areas, maybe you can come in and be something like a project manager or a construction site manager for solar systems, or run an installation crew. So lots of opportunities. System designers and engineers. A lot of SEI's curriculum focuses on designing systems. It also focuses on the installation side of it. Things such as construction and project managers. We like to think we're special, and we are. Solar and renewable energy is special. I'm not going to lie to you. But at the same time, we do a lot of the same things that other industries do in terms of building things and doing construction. The same thing's true with manufacturing, right? Manufacturing, product development, technical support, answering the phone when somebody who bought your inverter calls and says, hey, I've got a question about X. Who's doing that? Who's providing that tech support? Lots of opportunities there. Sales, marketing, so many things. I do really feel like in the last 12 or 15 years since I've gotten involved in the industry, the amount of different jobs you could have in renewable energy has just totally blossomed. There's so many different things we can do now that the industry's become so much larger. You don't have to be twisting wrenches on a roof. You don't have to be a salesperson. You don't have to be involved in the construction side. You don't have to be a project developer, but those are all available to you. And one of the one of the great things about the industry is being able to move in between those different career paths or sectors as well. It makes it interesting and always means that there's something new for you to learn and increase your skills on. So I would definitely recommend checking out the IREC solar career map. The URL is on the bottom of the page there, and it's got a lot of great information that goes along with it to try and help you find out, hey, where do I fit in? This is my background. This is what I'm interested in. You know, what path do I need to go on? Where could I get if I want to get into this industry? And of course, part of that is going to be here's the blatant sales pitch, is getting involved with Solar Energy International. So SEI, since 1991, we've been teaching people how to design, build, service, maintain, sell renewable energy systems, and we walk the walk and talk the talk. We've got 40 or 50 instructors all over the country who teach all over the world. A lot of them own their own businesses. A lot of them, you know, they teach because they love the industry and they want to give something back to the industry that's been so good to them, and they bring all of their real world practical experience to the table, which means our students get really the absolute best instruction they possibly can. And of course, since we've been doing this for so long, since 1991, you better believe that our curriculum is just constantly being refined. We've had so many amazing people over the years that have looked at the curriculum and updated it and edited it and improved it, and that's a constant ongoing process that we're always doing. So I would just invite you to check out the solarenergy.org website. We've got all of our classes on there, in particular our Solar Professional Certificate program. This is really where we've taken our classes and we've built different programs and certificates that are basically on a different track, depending on where you want to get. And we get students that'll take multiple, will go for multiple certificates. Really what we're trying to do here is increase the level of training in the industry. We see a lot of people who get training that's really designed to teach towards a test, or it's designed to just get your butt in the seat for a certain amount of hours so you can say you did it. And at SEI, we've been doing this long enough that we know that doesn't work. That isn't what creates success for our students, and doesn't create a successful, vibrant industry. So we really try and go beyond this test prep training and prepare our students for a career in the industry. So programs like the Residential and Commercial Photovoltaic Systems Certificate, PV, solar electric. We have our battery-based programs. We have developing world applications. We have a lot of instructors who work all over the world with different groups, doing all kinds of different projects, ranging from water pumping to small village systems all over the world. And that's one of the really exciting things that solar allows you to do, is take it on the road somewhat. It's fun to travel and spread this around and help people out. So if you have more questions about that, please feel free to reach out to us and we can help you pick the direction you want to go. We've got our student services team has been doing this for years and years, and they're very experienced at helping people figure out what direction they want to go in, what makes the most sense for them based on your goals and how you think you might want to get involved in the industry. Last thing I would mention would be the NABCEP certification. This is the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners. It is currently a U.S. United States certification, but people all over the world have this certification. It's really one of the few things out there that is a certification for renewable energy. So they have this for wind, water heating, solar electric installations. They have it for entire companies. They can become NABCEP accredited. And basically what NABCEP is it's a certification that says, hey, you have a certain level of training and experience capable of installing renewable energy systems, is really what it comes down to. Right. So there's not a ton of NABCEP certified people out there. There's more and more all the time. There's a couple of thousand. I got my certification in 2008. I think I was like maybe the 100th person in the country to get it. And it really is something I'm proud of. It really is a badge that shows that, hey, you know, you have dedication to this industry. You have dedication to staying current and on top of a rapidly changing industry. As we grow, we see a lot of rapid changes, and it really sets you apart from other people that are out there also trying to work in the renewable energy industry. So I would encourage you to check out NABCEP, NABCEP, NABCEP.org. They are a certifying agency. We are not affiliated with them in any way other than that we do training, which they recognize as one of the trainers out there that provides suitable training towards getting this certification. So they do the testing, we do the training, and we're just one of many training organizations out there. But we just happen to also be the very best. All right. Well, that was trying to answer the question on why renewable energy, coupled with a little bit of a sales pitch for SEI. And I will tell you that it was the best thing that I've ever done was take about 6 weeks of classes there, and it really started me on a path that's been ever so rewarding ever since. So, all right. Well, take your time and jump into another presentation whenever you're ready. We've got a bunch more lessons for you here in RE100. I think you're going to enjoy them. We'll talk about solar, wind, hydro, economics, other applications, developing world applications, and whet your appetite for solar and other renewable energy technologies. All right, thanks again.